All right. I was not initially going to talk about this story, which is why I'm sort of a day late on it, although much of what I'm going to talk about actually happened in the last 12 to 16 hours. There is I think it's appropriate to say a pop singer named Nicki Minaj, who has been posting some sort of strange things to Twitter lately and other social media related to the pandemic and related to science. Nicki Minaj has close to 200 million. That's not an error. Close to 200 million followers across all social media platforms. And the day before yesterday, she tweeted a very strange anecdote about the coronavirus vaccine, where Nicki Minaj said, quote, "My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married. Now the girl called off the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied," presumably meaning not bullied into getting the vaccine. Now, this is a really weird anecdote for a few different reasons. First of all, there's nothing in the scientific literature that suggests testicular swelling can be caused by the vaccine. It's also sort of strange because why would swollen testicles mean the wedding is off? Is it because you're getting medical treatment, or like did the fiance just not want to be married to a guy whose testicles swelled? Or is it that actually the swollen testicles were the result of maybe an STD obtained from infidelity? I don't know. That was sort of my tongue-in-cheek suggestion. I got involved in this and responded actually and said, quote, this is a very technical response. I said, is it maybe possible the swollen apple bags were an STD from cheating? And that's why the wedding was called off. Now, some of the amateur doctors in my audience told me, David, there are no STDs that cause testicular swelling. That's not true. I researched it. In fact, both chlamydia and gonorrhea can cause something called orchitis, which is a swelling of the testicles. So anyway, like we don't do anecdotal stuff. We go by science and peer review and randomized controlled trials. And, one person whose testicles swell in Trinidad doesn't really tell us too much about what we need to know. This story has exploded. So first of all, yesterday on CNN, Jake Tapper actually asks Dr. Fauci about this specifically. Take a listen to this.
Speaking of trusted messengers, pop star Nicki Minaj tweeted yesterday that she's not vaccinated. She's doing her own research. And then she shared an anecdote I found rather unbelievable, to be honest, about alleged side effects that her cousin's friend supposedly experienced in Trinidad. I wouldn't normally even ask you about this, but Nicki Minaj has nearly 180 million followers on Twitter and Instagram combined. She's beloved by her fans. She's a huge talent, obviously. Her tweet was seized upon by vaccine opponents as some sort of evidence. I want you to address what she said, because for anyone out there who has any questions about this, Dr. Fauci, is there any evidence that the Pfizer, the Moderna, or the J&J vaccines cause any reproductive issues in men or women?
The answer to that, Jake, is a resounding no. There's no evidence that it happens, nor is there any mechanistic reason to imagine that it would happen. So the answer to your question is no.
How can health authorities even attempt to combat this kind of misinformation coming from somebody who is a huge and beloved international star like Nicki Minaj?
It's very difficult. There is a lot of misinformation, mostly on social media. And the only way we know to counter mis and disinformation is to provide a lot of correct information.
All right. So that might have been it, right? Nicki Minaj tweets about the swollen testicles. The wedding is off. It makes one day of rounds, and it's sort of like there's no evidence for this. There's no medical reason. This is one person. Just because something happened after something else doesn't mean that it was caused by that thing. Okay, fine. But then Tucker Carlson jumps in And Tucker Carlson is very interested in this story. Very, very interested in this story. And the clips from Tucker Carlson are indistinguishable from parody. First, Tucker offering a clarification. It is not Nicki Minaj's cousin's testicles that were swollen. It is Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend's testicles.
Things about that tweet. Last night we read it, we put the graphic on the screen, and we suggested that Nicki Minaj's cousin is the one with the swollen testicles in Trinidad.
Right.
And we were wrong, and we want to admit it. We henceforth correct the record. Nicki Minaj's cousin's testicles are not swollen. As far as we know, he's fine. It's Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend's testicles who are swollen.
Yeah. Okay. So that's already crazy, but then this is really the wacky part. Tucker wants to interview Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend about his swollen testicles. Orchitis now is going to be a subject on the Tucker Carlson program. And not only does Tucker want to interview the guy, Tucker's willing to fly to Trinidad. This is a clip. This may be the clip of Tucker Carlson that would be, in an archive to be reviewed 1,000 years from now by society. Listen to this.
We haven't been able to figure out whether this show is broadcast in Trinidad, but if Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend is watching, or his former fiance is watching, we want to hear your story. We'll come to Port of Spain to see you. Let us know.
One case of swollen testicles in Trinidad, and Tucker will take his entire production team down there and do an entire show about your swollen testicles. Guys, we're in real trouble here, aren't we? I mean, this now is going beyond. I don't even know how to characterize and quantify and qualify the insanity that is spreading like a virus in this country. One thing after another. It is truly, truly stunning. But Tucker, he's on the story. He's ready to go interview Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend about his allegedly swollen testicles, which came chronologically after supposedly receiving some vaccine, but we don't really know much else about it. We're screwed, guys, right? I mean, this is not, humanity is not pointing in the right direction at this point in time, I think we can say. One of our sponsors is Blue Block's blue light glasses. I've sometimes had issues falling asleep at night, eventually realized some of it might be coming from the blue light emitted by my phone and computer screens. Peer-reviewed studies show blue light can suppress the hormone melatonin, which can make it hard to fall asleep because your sleep rhythms are disturbed. I've seen a lot of improvement since I started using blue light glasses from Blue Blocks. Most companies make blue light glasses in a mass-produced way with no quality standards, but Blue Block's glasses are made in actual optics labs in their Australian headquarters. They have over 40 modern frames you can choose from. They have a prescription version, non-prescription, even reading glasses. And for every pair of glasses Blue Block sells, they give a pair of reading glasses to someone in need. You'll get 20% off when you go to blueblocks.com/Pacman. The link is right underneath the video, and there's also free shipping worldwide on orders over $115.